Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. I have a very special guest with me. His name is Ryan Smith, and he is a cellist here in town, and he runs his own business called Ryan Smith Cello Music. Ryan, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Oh, wonderful. I got lots of questions for you because I think I remember seeing you at the Aquarium. Is that where
Uh-huh.
you were doing some work? And I asked you for a card, and I'm like, we're going to talk. Now, it took
Awesome.
me a while to get back to you, but
Yeah,
see, I did get back to you.
I remember I was talking and playing
Yeah, yes,
mostly.
you were. So tell me about your roots. Where are you from? Are you from New Mexico or are you from someplace else?
Essentially, yeah, I was born out of state, but we moved here. My family moved here when I was about a year old up to
Oh,
Farmington. My dad was in coal mining engineering, so
okay. So you grew up in Farmington then.
yeah,
Okay, so which high school did you graduate from in Farmington?
Farmington High School.
Okay. Is
Yep.
there more than wait? Is there more than one high school in Farmington?
Yeah, they opened up another one like around the time I graduated. So we were
Oh,
the
okay.
last class to fully graduate from the one high school.
Okay. I was just realizing, wait, that may have been a stupid question, but yes, Farmington High School. Okay.
Yep.
So did you grow up in a musical family? Was anyone else musical in your family, or was it just basically you?
My parents weren't into music, but my dad is one of those people that can just sing and whistle beautifully. He doesn't even think anything of it, but he really can sing, and he always could. So he would sing stuff with the radio or without it. And but no, we weren't a big music family. My oldest brother got really into music at a young age and listened to all kinds of mostly punk rock. He was a skateboarder in the 80s, one of the early skateboarders. And so that was some of the first music I listened to, was bands like Descendants, and Social Distortion was one of my favorites when I was like in kindergarten.
So you did grow up in a music family, but yet you started on cello, right? How
Yeah,
old were you when you started on cello?
I was 12. So in seventh grade, we had to pick electives, and I for sure knew I wanted to do music in some way. And so the junior high came down to our middle school or elementary school, I mean, and demonstrated pretty much all the instruments from the band and the orchestra. And as soon as I heard the cello, I was like, that right there. I loved the richness of the tone, and I loved that it could play low notes and really high notes. And yeah, so
Okay.
decision.
So you started on cello. Did you
Uh-huh.
play any other instruments like piano or guitar or anything when you were a kid, or was it just strictly cello?
The summer after seventh grade, I followed in my brother's footsteps and started playing electric bass. Learned blues and some Red Hot Chili Peppers. We had the Blood Sugar Sex Magic transcription book. So I learned what I could, like Suck My Kiss wasn't too hard, so I played that one. And then I joined the jazz band in eighth grade.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So here you are, you're playing cello and bass,
yeah.
but which so what instrument? I mean, did you kind of just did both, right? You were kind of almost a split personality. You were playing in the orchestra at school, I assume,
Yeah.
and you were playing in the jazz band and you
Yeah.
were doing other rock things,
Yeah, at
but it really
home.
was a
Yeah.
split personality, wasn't it?
It was. It was. Yeah, I just loved it all. But especially the cello. That always had a special bond for me.
Okay. And so were you part of, you said you were in the orchestra when you were going through middle school and high school at Farmington High School.
Yeah.
So did you ever audition for Allstate? Did you ever make Allstate or any of those other ones?
I did. I auditioned a couple times and made it both times.
Hmm.
And my senior year, I made it as a cellist and also as an electric bassist in the All-State Jazz Band.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I took two trips to Albuquerque that year. Two
So you
very
did the jazz all state
different.
and then you did the regular all state. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So were there any other, like, were you part of any of the other ensemble music on? Was music obviously your first love when it came to school and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Were you involved with band at all, or was it just strictly orchestra and the jazz band?
Strictly orchestra and jazz band.
Okay.
I also played stand-up bass for 1 year, in addition to cello that year. So I got to
You
play
did
that.
both. And
I
I'm
did.
telling, when you say stand-up bass, in other words, you were playing acoustic bass in the orchestra?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Also in the
Okay.
jazz band, but I pretty quickly discovered that it couldn't hold up to the middle school jazz band in terms of volume without a mic.
Oh no.
So
Yeah, you had to be microphone, you needed a pickup, you needed
yeah,
something to amplify it from
I didn't
someone
even
who
know about
uses
that
a,
stuff.
yeah, well, and I
Yeah.
use my bassist is all my bassists that I use, I'll use upright bass. And so
Uh-huh.
without a pickup or something, they're not heard at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, yeah, it really gets buried in there. So that didn't last long, but yeah, I could probably still play an upright. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
So what so I think if I remember reading correctly, you attended UNM.
that's
Did
right.
you at University of New Mexico
Uh-huh.
as a music major? Was it
Yeah.
performance or was it education? What was it?
So I went into education with the heart of a performance major and really was pushed hard like a performance major. Um, my idea was that I wanted to be a cello soloist like in an orchestral setting, like touring and playing solo cello with orchestras. And then about a year or two into it, just for a couple different reasons, but my heart wasn't like fully in classical music. Um, Even though that's totally what I consider my roots of my playing and just musically. Um, it's imprinted on my soul for sure, but didn't see myself spending my whole life in classical music or teaching. So so I ended up switching my major, and ended up realizing that I was only a couple classes away from just a general music degree.
Okay.
And so I have the better part of a performance degree in cello, and I do
Okay.
have a bachelor's in music.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you graduated from UNM what year? What year did you graduate from UNM?
2008. I
Okay.
graduated with 2 degrees, one music on Friday night and mechanical engineering on Saturday
Oh,
morning.
so you're a oh, so you have a degree in mechanical engineering. Oh my goodness. Now that changes things completely.
Yeah.
So you realized music wasn't going to be your major source of income, so you decided to switch gears and do mechanical engineering. That's pretty amazing if you ask me.
No, thank you. I was always good at math and saw that mechanical engineering was pretty versatile, and I always like science. I still do like science. My plan was to actually set myself up financially, through doing that for some years, and then if I could see a path to being a full-time musician, I was going to take it.
Okay. So
So
so so
that worked out.
after college, tell me what happened. Tell me some more because here you graduated with a double major. You have a BA obviously in music, and then you
Yeah,
had a BS in mechanical engineering, right?
right. Yep.
So what happened after school?
I got hired right away by Lockheed Martin in Orlando, Florida, and I moved out to Florida and um, got married at the same time. No longer married, but got married at the same time. Moved out to Florida, so life kind of happened in a whirlwind right there, and I was working in a corporate environment, and
Okay.
it was pretty exciting for a while, and then I think being a creative person, I think that there just wasn't enough newness coming at me. It just felt kind of same. And so after about 5 years, I switched industries and worked in the biomedical field,
Okay.
working on like surgical navigation technology.
Yeah. Biomedical engineering. Yeah.
Yep. And that was where I realized that, even being outside of weapons and stuff, I just I just really needed something that was more interesting to me. And
Okay.
I had I had saved up some money and decided to give it a shot with music. And
Oh, okay. So here you were in Florida working for Lockheed Martin, and then you switched jobs and you were working in the biomedical profession.
yeah, up in
So
Boulder, Colorado.
in Boulder?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So here you've moved from Florida to Colorado,
yeah.
and what was it that you said enough is enough? And did you just quit your job as a biomedical engineer, or did you just say, I mean, tell me more about this switch in your
I,
life?
I think it was kind of faded. I didn't quit my job. I was a contract worker and did a great job on their project. And and just it was my contract ended. And so I knew at that time that I didn't see myself searching for another engineering gig anytime soon.
So
And
music became full time?
it was for a while. Yeah, what happened is a friend of my roommate, professional musician, plays like 200 some gigs a year. He plays guitar and sings and plays percussion with his feet. Um, he was looking for a fiddle player and asked me if I knew any fiddle players. I'm like, no, I don't. And then one thing led to another, and he was like, well, why don't you check out my stuff and see if you'd be interested in playing with me? And so we jammed a little bit, and he was really excited about it. And he picked me up, and I started playing every gig with him, like 5, 6 gigs a week. Just threw me right in the deep end. No
Oh,
chord charts, no, hey, this starts on a C, like none of it. Thankfully, I played guitar so I could at least take a look sometimes. But my ear got very good with 1, 4, 5, 2, 6, all the
right.
chords.
Three,
Yeah,
six, two, five, ones.
yeah, I
Yes.
could hear him. I still can, but like I was really sharp at it at the time because it was either that or be embarrassed.
Well, and this was in the Boulder area, Colorado,
Yeah,
Denver, northern Denver area. And you're working full time as a musician up in that area. That's a
yeah,
hell of a gig, if you ask me.
yeah. It was pretty amazing. I kind of had a full-time job and an amazing music and mentor. All in.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really
And the
cool.
music was more like what, blues and what other kind of music were you playing, or a little bit of everything?
It was It was a little bit of everything. I mean, we did like Bonnie and Ray. We did Buddy Guys Feels Like Rain. We did some more more country kind of stuff like Wichita Lineman. Just a lot of classic American music, which is kind of my favorite.
All right, I kind of call that Americana.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, that's my classification. The minute you started
yeah,
saying some of those artists, I'm like, that's Americana.
for
It's
sure.
a little bit of everything. You get the blues, you get the rock, you get the
Uh-huh.
pop, you get a little bit of Western. So, and this is
Yeah,
what you're doing on a full time. So,
yeah.
so I guess my next question is what brought you back to New Mexico, and when did that happen?
So that gig ended, unfortunately.
Well,
Uh,
how long did you play with him?
about 3 months.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. Um, and so I was faced with the choice of staying in Denver and maybe picking up a different kind of part-time job or keep doing the temp work that I had been doing, or I could go back to New Mexico. And I decided to come back to New Mexico and went back to my hometown actually and lived with my parents for a short while. And ended up picking up a gig playing bass professionally in a variety band. And we played all kinds of places, including some big bar rooms with all kinds of people dancing, a lot of country, you know,
Okay.
and a lot of other stuff. So that was a really good experience for me too. And then that one ended. I was just ready to get out of my hometown, so I left the band with the idea of it wasn't a brand new idea, but with the idea of playing cello with backing tracks I make myself.
Okay, and we're going to talk about that here in a couple of minutes. So let's see if I got the timeline right. So after kind of giving up in the, I don't want to, I hate that word giving up, but in a sense, saying enough is enough in the Boulder, Denver area. You
Yeah,
came back to Farmington. You stayed in Farmington for how long before you moved to Albuquerque?
about 8 months.
Okay. And then
Yeah,
you moved to Albuquerque. So we're going to talk about your cello music in a second, but what
yeah,
was the idea was when moving to Albuquerque, you wanted to do music full time, right?
yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Okay. So give me an idea of how you came up, or what was the influences that you came up with your music. First off, let me explain to people if they're not familiar with your music, and we have lots of links down below. They'll get a great idea of it. You play solo cello. You have backing tracks that you have either written or and you use, and you are playing solo cello. You do a lot of weddings, you do a lot of anniversary things, you do a lot of corporate gigs, you do a lot of outdoor gigs, all these different things. So, what was the influences that give you the idea to do this solo act?
Um, the idea itself came from a massage therapist of all things. I was talking to her about how much fun it is to make music, and at the time I was using GarageBand, and how you have access to MIDI instruments. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
explained that to her, that I could make steel drum music, and I was messing around with that at the time. And she just said, "Why don't you make that music and just play your cello with it?" And I was like, "That's an interesting idea." So that's where the seed got planted. Yeah. Um, as my influences for what I do specifically, I really don't have any.
Okay.
Except cello wise, I was deeply inspired by two cellos when I saw them in like 2011.
Okay, now explain that because I know who that group is.
Yeah.
The two guys who play in that.
Uh-huh.
Explain two cellos so people know what that is.
They're a world famous cello duo, and often they play with this absolutely incredible drummer. Um, and I think they use backing tracks too. I don't really remember, but they have beautiful arrangements. They also have some stuff that's probably more well known, like they played a cover of Welcome to the Jungle, and they can really shred. But I was more attracted to their gentler music, and
Hmm.
how beautifully and passionately they play, and all the freedom in their playing.
Hmm.
That really inspired me to kind of find a new relationship to my cello after such serious study.
Yeah, well, here you've gone from you said you played cello and you played bass. You went over here and you kind of still played, and then you went over here, and then you went up there and you were playing bass on a regular basis. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden now you're coming back and you're trying to like, well, how can I incorporate my cello into this? Now, now I listen to your music and I've listened to quite a bit of it on Spotify and I've listened to quite a
Cool.
bit of it on YouTube and watched you. And
Uh-huh.
is it good or bad that it reminds me a lot of the piano guys?
I think that's cool because they're huge, and I do all of this myself, all the mixing, all the instruments. So I take that as a compliment for sure.
Okay, because yeah, I've having seen those guys that numerous times in concert and listening
Oh,
to your music, it reminds me very much of that of the idea. I mean, fine, you're playing with a backing track. That does nothing. That has no influence on it. It's what's coming out front is the cello.
yeah.
And it's got this beautiful sound. And I was listening to some of your music. I mean, I was listening to you the day that we met, but then I was listening to some of your other stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is so gorgeous.
Thank you.
So here you're playing with recorded tracks. Are these tracks that you have written and arranged on your own, or does somebody do it for you?
I write them and arrange them on my own.
Wow.
I've been a busy bee for about 6 years. I have about 4 hours worth now. So I really try to make them in a way that is I think mostly it's inspired by classical music. It's not very loop oriented. There's not a lot of repetition in it. It's more of a flow of an
But you
idea.
do a lot of covers, like you do Taylor Swift covers and you do
Yeah,
covers of other famous songs. It's not that you're just playing just strictly classical music. And this is
No,
why I say that it's that I get that piano guy's feel from it, is
right.
because you take modern music, you take pop songs, and you interpret it in your own way, and then you
Yeah,
add your cello on top.
that's
And
right.
it's something that if you're not familiar with it, I put some YouTube links down below, and you'll be able to watch what Ryan does, because it's rather unique. And that's one of the things I like about it is you when I watched you, you have this speaker and you've got your music and you've got your you use a tablet or you using a laptop?
Tablet.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're using a tablet and you're running thing over there and then you're playing with it. And it's not like it's 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 not anything what people expect, and the arrangements are gorgeous. If you're writing all your own arrangements and you're playing everything and you're mixing it all, are you still using GarageBand to do your mixing?
I just bumped up to Logic Pro.
Oh, okay, there you
Uh,
go. So you're using a DAW
yeah,
and you're mixing all of that, and the arrangements are very, very nice. My
thank
compliments to
you.
you, because I
Thank
really
you.
like listening to some of those. I enjoy them, and your live cello on top of that makes it just, I can see why. I could see the music, especially for a wedding, a corporate event, a private party, a Christmas
Yeah.
party, some sort of private summer gathering. Oh, it's absolutely wonderful. And those are a lot of the kind of gigs that you get, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I
Okay.
slowly discovered I could play it anywhere.
Yeah, yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, you
The big
can.
party, like a party.
Right.
Just look
So
that up.
so we you mentioned looping, and
Uh-huh.
for what people, if people aren't aware of what looping is and we saw this. I went and saw Pat Metheny, by the way, about
Oh
a
wow.
month ago, and he did a whole like at 45 minutes worth of doing this. So when you loop, you play a specific section and you're recording it live, and then you go on and you do the next section and the next section and the next section, and so you're building this big gigantic recording live. And now you said you don't do any of that at all?
I haven't done much of that. I have a looper and have experimented with it. I've really been so focused on this repertoire. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but now I'm reaching a point where I have some time to explore, and that's
Okay.
definitely one of the things on my list.
Oh, I think it would sound amazing, especially with
Yeah.
the fact that you have the ability to change your sounds. And so that was the thing that I like about it is there's a trumpet player who likes to loop, and he'll record something, but then he records it like it sounds like a bass line, but he's playing it with his trumpet.
That's amazing.
And then he records the guitar lines, and then he records this, and then he records that. It's an advantage because you could play chords with yours.
Yeah.
So that might be an advantage to it. It's something that you should explore, because I think it would sound absolutely awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely plan on checking it out. There's a cellist called Zoe Keating, and
Okay.
she's really amazing at playing and at doing that particular. Yeah.
Okay.
Stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I think you should try it for sure, because I think, especially with your bass, playing bass, and you say, I know you play keyboards and I know you do everything else. I
Yeah.
think you'd be able to just take like three and take a video, take like three instruments and then loop it and loop it and loop it and build upon it. I think that would be awesome. It may not be something you could do live, but I'm sure
Huh?
you could video record yourself doing it.
That'd be fun to do.
See, I gave you a project.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so your music right now, is that your main profession, or do you have other things, like, are you still working with your engineering and doing and or medical engineering? Are you doing anything with that now, or are you just strictly music now?
Strictly music. I have been for about 5 years. I live a pretty modest lifestyle, but I'm strictly music.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
tough. It's
Yeah.
tough to make a living from being a musician, and people don't
Yeah.
realize how hard it can be. I mean, we get
Yeah.
we get people who offer my band these minuscule amounts to play, and you
Yeah.
just got to think, do you have any idea how much work we put into this?
Yeah.
We're not getting paid to perform. We perform, right, because we want to perform. We
Yes.
get paid to do all the other things like haul our equipment, write our arrangements, rehearsals, all those other things. That's
Yeah.
what we get paid for. We don't get paid to perform. We all perform because we love to perform, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the fun part. That's the easy part. Yeah.
it's I wish more people would understand that.
Me too.
You get these people who, well, we'd like you to come out and play for 2 hours. We'll give you dinner.
Oh yeah.
No, no, you
Yeah.
don't get it. I need more than that. I have to offer my musicians more than that. And
Yeah.
I've been known to, personally, I've been known to take a pay cut to make sure that my other musicians get paid a fair wage, and then hope that I make tips, which I usually do, but hope that I make enough tips to pay me.
Oh, that's cool of you.
I try to do that.
Yeah.
So, what other instruments? Because I remember reading on your webpage, you play more than cello. We've
Yeah.
established you play bass. I
Yep.
think you said you play piano
A
and
little
you
bit of
play
piano.
guitar.
I play
Okay.
guitar
What
and
other instruments do you play?
mandolin and drum set.
Okay.
Yeah, I played a lot of drums in my 20s. And I was
So
studying cello
uh,
too. Yeah.
it must be nice to be an instrumentalist. I have a hard enough time playing trumpet and then having to work things out on a keyboard. I don't want to do anything else. That's too hard as it is. It takes up a lot
Yeah.
of time. I can't imagine being able to be proficient on all those instruments, especially if your main instrument is cello. That doesn't seem like it's a very easy instrument to play either.
No, it's not. It's not all the hard work and training and stuff just really paid off for me.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's an odd question for you. We're going to get into this odd question stuff here.
Okay.
What what music do you listen to? What do you like to listen to?
I'm a huge fan of Americana,
Okay.
especially newer Americana. Some of my favorites are Chris Stapleton, Jason Isbell, and his wife Amanda Shires. Um, I really like Tyler Childers. Um, I love bluegrass. Big fan of Bela Fleck,
Oh,
Flecktone.
Bella Fleck and the Flecktones.
Yep. Um, Sierra Hull as a mandolin player is so inspiring and amazing.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I mean, growing up, a lot of Pink Floyd, Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin.
Well, of course, I we all grew up listening to all of that, but I was just
Yeah,
curious, what do you listen to now when you
yeah,
go to flip on the radio? I mean, I don't know whether you use Spotify, I don't know whether you use Apple Music or any of those streaming services, but when you do that, you flip on, do you flip on a particular, you said Americana as the genre, right?
yeah, yep,
Okay, that makes
yep.
sense.
That's
Now,
my
speaking
favorite.
of Spotify and Apple Music and all those other ones, where you're on all the streaming services, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I'll put a link down below to your webpage that has all the different. I saw that there was like it had all of the icons toward the bottom,
Yes.
and on your stream on your page where it has music, and you can listen to some of your music on Bandcamp, and
Uh-huh.
you're on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. You're on all of those platforms,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yep.
So pick your poison, whatever streaming service you consume your music, that's where you'll find Ryan. And it's listed under Ryan Smith Cello Music, right?
Right. That's right.
Okay. I just want to make sure that where people are looking, they're looking for the right guy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a couple of other things. Tell me something that people would be surprised to learn about you.
I think it's that I can fix stuff and work on cars and stuff like that. I don't think people expect that from a cellist, maybe.
Oh,
Uh,
you seriously you'd like to work on cars and stuff?
I don't like it a whole lot, but I can definitely do it.
Okay.
My dad taught me those kind of things. So I changed a clutch in a truck, dropped the transmission out and all that. And yeah, I'm just a fairly handy guy. I can fix things around the house, and
Nice.
that's a little bit surprising.
Well, for the younger generation, maybe for guys who grew up in the 80s and the 90s, we were taught you have to be able to be handy.
Yeah,
You can't depend on hiring someone to do stuff. If it's not that hard, fix it yourself. That's
Uh-huh.
the good part.
Yeah, for
All
sure.
right.
That
So
was great.
I got time for one more question,
Okay.
and this is the one I ask everybody, and I'm sure you've had quite your fair share of them. But give me a strangest gig, funniest story from something that you've been involved with, something that you've had happen to you. Do you got one or more than one that you want to share?
The one that's coming to mind is at the historic church up in the San Isidro church up in Corrales.
Mm-hmm.
Um that's shaped like a cross. Beautiful
Yes.
church, right? Um I'm playing a wedding there, and the groom is a hilarious guy. He's just such an extrovert and having just so much fun, so lighthearted about everything. And they have this big goofy dog sitting in the front row, and he's dressed in a tuxedo, hanging out with the best man. And right when they were announced as a married couple and it was time to walk down the aisle, I had actually started their song, which happened to be the very famous one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I started the backing track on that one, and was getting ready to come in, and they were still standing there, and the dog jumps off the chair and runs out the door so fast in his tuxedo, and the groom is like, "You little shit," and he takes off after it, and the dude's like a CIA agent or something like that. So he's really in shape. He chased that thing all the way across the lot, the dog, and pulled it back in and just kind of laughed it off. And so I restarted that song again, and it was seriously like movie comedy
Yeah.
worthy moment. Never
See,
forget.
musicians have the best stories ever. All
Yeah.
right, so we're running out of time. I want to thank Ryan for joining me. I want to thank you for all that you're doing. Don't stop what you're doing because it's really awesome.
Thank you.
Whenever somebody has a chance, I hope they'll come and listen to you because your music is wonderful. I put a ton of links down below. Everybody take a look. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you next time.